Good afternoon. It is Thursday, June 15th, and I am excited to be joined by our colleagues from EBSCO for a bonus episode of our spring webinar series, WiLS and EBSCO presenting. Today, we're going to be talking about EBSCO eBooks, and we are joined by Robin Corder. Robin, do I have that right? Robin Corder,
You
right?
do, yes.
Okay, so Robin, I am going to let you take over. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that you can show us some stuff.
All right, welcome everyone. I'm going to turn off my video and share my screen. Can everyone see EBSCO Host Collection Manager?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so formerly EBSCO Host Collection Manager, our ordering platform for eBooks and Flipster magazines. I'm going to be focusing on eBooks, and we call this ECM. We like to shorten everything at EBSCO. So welcome. I'm going to give you a quick 30-minute demonstration on our ordering platform and eBook Manager, which is our new portal, about a year old now. So we'll dive into that as well. And Paula will man any questions that come in. So let's start by looking at the front page quickly. This is an opportunity. These tiles will rotate from time to time. It's an opportunity where we can showcase new products, enhancements, or promotions. And then on the left, on our online guides, that will take you to our eConnect page. That's our support page. And there's great videos in there, tutorials and whatnot. So certainly peruse this area. The search bar will carry you through many pages here, and I'm going to put in a basic keyword. Having said that, you can search by any of these selected fields. And this is just going to take a minute. And the reason why I want to put in a keyword, this is for when you want to look for content. We have so many ebooks in this platform, but when you search for content, limiters will populate on your left, and that's a good way to cull down your search and look for something more specific. So under this keyword leadership, we have almost 50,000 results. On the left are these limiters. If you want to exclude anything you already have in my collection, you would want to select holdings here. This is my test site, so you'll see a lot of placards here. If you did own this book, you would have this in my collection placard located under the title of the ebook. If it were part of a DDA, which you can also manage through ECM up in this right-hand corner, you would have that on a placard saying part of DDA. And if you've moved a title to a list, you'd have this placard. I'd like to just show you briefly, one of my favorite limiters is the bisect limiter. It in the parentheses shows the title count. You could select this and get more specific on what kind of content you're looking for. You could also reduce your publication year range. You could select specific publishers under this keyword, leadership and whatnot. It's pretty intuitive. To the right are the pricing. This book has every possible pricing that publishers could possibly offer: 1U, 3-user, unlimited, and concurrent access. And then to find more information about the ebook, you can click on the title, and that will bring you to our detailed page. From the detailed page, you can view a section of the ebook. If you are a Gobi purchaser, sorry, this is just taking a little second. So here's the preview. Shows what formats are available when you purchase the book. Find on Gobi. This will, if you're logged into your Gobi platform, this will bring you right to that Gobi page. And then there's detailed hyperlinks to any further collection development that you need. Publisher permissions. That's something to be aware of. Publishers allow so much content to be used by a patron within the session that you're viewing the book. So in this example, which is fairly typical, they're offering 100 pages. So if a patron wants to download several chapters, they can do up to 100 pages during that session, for example. And whether you're on EDS or EBSCO host, it will track how many pages that patron is using. Typically, publishers allow 60 pages or 100, but of course, some offer less, and there are publishers that offer no sharing of content. So you might be aware of that. And then at this point, you can add this book to the cart. Please be aware that our cart is not persistent. And so if you time out or log out, anything left in the cart will go away. We really recommend you add to a list. This, I'm not going to go through with all this, but this will be add to a list /DDA. It defaults to list first. So once you begin adding things to a list, it'll continue adding to a list, and you select the list or create the list. I'm just going to cancel out of that. And anything you add to a list will reside in progress lists, and those will not go away. So at any point you can manage your list, edit your list, or add it to the cart. Just to go back to the search one more time, I want to point out one other placard, and I apologize, my system's a little slow. DRM free. If we scroll down and you come across this green DRM free available, let's just go look at this book. What that means is if purchased at the unlimited access, and if you look at the pricing, you'll see unlimited /DRM free here. The permissions on this page are 100. However, if you select the DRM free version, those permissions go away, which means this book will be downloaded without the necessary Adobe Digital Edition requirements. It'll be a PDF, and the entire ebook can be saved, emailed, printed, sent to every student in a classroom, etc. So DRM free is very popular. We have quite a lot of DRM free books. We have whole collections of DRM frees, which I'll point out in a moment. But I just wanted to point that out to you. So let's move along the toolbar here. Subject sets. Subject sets are curated collections that our in-house librarians have created. Subject sets are our most relevant front list unique content. And we release these once a year, typically either in January or July. This year, a whole new set are going to be released in the first week of August. So there's larger limiters here on the left that you can peruse. If I go to business and economics, it shows all those subject sets available. So leader in management, you'll see here we have 4 years. We typically try to keep 4 years of collections in this section. That doesn't mean other eBooks that fall outside of these collections aren't in the body of ECM. These are just curated collections. If you select any one of these curated collections, it's going to look like your search results from when we search the keyword leadership. And you do not need to purchase all the books in this collection. You can purchase them or add them to a list individually. And you can certainly cull down this list. This list has 27 titles. You can look through the limiters to cull down the search. It'll show titles count here. And you can add the whole set to a cart or a list. If you like everything here you see, I do recommend you set your per page at 200, which you can do up here in preferences. This is sort of your settings portal. So that it captures all the titles in a given search, or is up to 200. So subject sets are very, very popular. I suggest you look at those. Our librarians have done a lot of the work for you. And then featured collections are another series of collections. They're broader based with publication date range, but they're more specific in topics. And there might be some overlap in these collections, but again, just going back to business and economics, you can see how specific the topics are, like hospitality and tourism, supply chain logistics. That's been a very popular collection of books, workplace culture, etc. We also have under featured collection all our DRM free collections, which are quite large. They're kind of organized by subject, and then if the subject's large, we've broken them up by years. So again, if you're looking for DRM free content and a specific subject, go to featured collections and pull up one of these. Unfortunately, we don't have a limiter at this time for DRM free, but the collections are here for you to peruse. And then moving down the list, you can certainly search by publisher. Every publisher we have a contract with is listed here, and their ebooks will come up as a search. Reports, this will drive you to EBSCO admin. If you want to run usage reports, you'll need to log in with the same credentials that you would to get into this platform ECM. It's just a different URL, but you can toggle between the two through reports or through the login page. There's like a downward caret. And then my own title report, it's a simplified Excel report that shows all the books that were purchased that you have access to, whether you owned them or they were shared to you. But there won't be any ebook subscription ebooks in this report. We encourage you to opt into our Rapid Mark Record program, which is free in ECM. You first have to set up, you have to opt in, check opt in and select your settings. And when purchases are made, we send you a link, which will live in this download section here. It's not a customized MARC record. It is simplified. If you're an OCLC member, you should continue with that workflow. And then over to the right, I like to show everyone this. I use this almost daily, this import list feature. If you have a bunch of ebooks you want to search for and you happen to have the 13-digit ISBN, that's the print ISBN ideally, copy and paste those into this box. The system will find out which ones we have. They'll ask what kind of list you want to put it on. It's a nice way to bulk research, and bulk order. And then I'm not going to go into DDA at this time. It's a little more involved. But if you are interested in DA, please reach out to Paula or Derek, and I'm happy to schedule time with you. So that's ECM. Let's move on to eBook Manager, and then we can break for questions if that's available. So eBook Manager came out a year ago, February, and it's a place where you can see all your holdings, set offline download settings that used to live in EBSCO admin. We migrated those over to this portal, suppress titles and so forth. I will tell you that this is permission based, so only approvers will see this portal. If you're a selector, you will not see this eBook Manager on the gray toolbar. So let's first go to eBook settings. And again, this is my test site. So when we migrated this over to eBook Manager, in the past, we could only, all of our download settings were universal, except for one user ebooks. So in other words, you know, if you wanted a 7-day duration checkout period, it affect all your ebooks. Now there's 4 ways where we can affect download settings. We can do it at the universal level, which is what we're looking at here. This is checked off yes, and it's 7 days. We can also do it at the access model level, which I'll show you next. And then we can do it at the title level, or we can create lists and apply settings to a list. So it's much more, you can customize it. It's up to you as a librarian. So 7 days universal. There's a couple other indicators here. I do recommend, yes, it allows users to check out up to that date so that they're not required to get the full duration time. That'll keep ebooks flowing for those that allow download, offline download settings. This is a good indicator as well. The full ebook download is seen in the viewer. This this forces your patrons to go right into the full text and download instead of just clicking away on the detailed page. So it creates a more thoughtful approach. And then here we go into our different access models. In this example, there's a custom setting, 2 days. I do recommend for one book, one user titles, 2 or 3 days so that they're not held up. For 3 user, it defaults to our 7 days. Again, it's up to you what you think is necessary, but there are 3 copies in these situations. And then unlimited use, there's no reason why your patrons have to return a book. The books are always available to everyone in your organization. So we threw it out in this example to 90 days. And then this is an example where we disable download cams. But again, if you did, I'm not sure why this is disabled, but I would put, I would mirror I'm going to put 3 days, but I typically mirror the one user access settings, and then I hit save. So at any time with eBook Manager, you can go in and change these settings. Okay, so now let's go into My Collections where you'll see all your holdings. When you go into My Collection, the system will show the first 10,000 ebooks. It doesn't mean all your ebooks can't be searched here, but for performance sake and speed, we've limited to 10,000. At any point, you can search for any ebook to see if it's in your collection, whether you've purchased it or have shared access to it, whether it's perpetual or it's an ebook subscription title. You can search for any book with these limiters. You can also go into ISBN search. It's going to have that ISBN box again. You can load ISBNs in there and it'll show you all those books that you have in your holdings. It'll also show you titles that you don't have in your holdings, but that are available for ECM with a hyperlink that you can click in and it'll drive you to that ECM page for adding it to a list or the card. And finally, it will give you a list of titles that EBSCO doesn't have available. So again, this is a nice way to search to see what you do have in your holdings. And then coming across the page is pretty intuitive. We have a simplified field here, and you can see that I don't have this in English, or these might be my most, let's just go access models. Let's look at one user books. Yeah, here we go. When you come into My Collection, the most recent added ebooks will be shown here. So anything that has been added recently to a subscription will populate right away, which is, I think, that was. Moving on down, you can extend this field and you'll see when it was added, information about the book, what type is it? So in this case, this is it's owned twice. You have it as, again, this is my test site, so it's a subscription. So we have the unlimited access as a subscription, and we have it as an unowned DDA one user title. So this lives on a DDA list that hasn't been triggered for purchase. We have real life access now in eBook Manager the last 3 years. So total access will capture anytime it's downloaded, online views, or chapter downloads. And of course, turnaways will show anytime someone tried to get into the book, but the book was in use. We will be moving this summer a few more items over from EBSCO Admin, largely anything to do with turnaways. So we're going to, in this section, you'll be able to enable your turnaway notification, your CAM notifications. You can also set holds for your ebooks that are in use. And then going down, this is the list feature. Lists live up here. This is when you select by clicking here, books that you add to a list, and then going into that list and setting download offline settings specific to that list. So if you have a faculty member who wants to make 5 books available for a reading assignment for, you know, a 3-week period, you could, and he doesn't want those books checked out, you can disable the download settings at that time, or you could restrict it to online use. So again, that's the list feature. Any created lists will live up here. This ebook is not on a list. And then you can add it to a list here as well. But this action is what I want to show you. There's 2 other things you can do here. You can edit the download settings. So this is a kind of a bad example because it's a subscription title, so it already has unlimited access. But in this case, at the title level, you can disable the download setting. You can create a customized download setting for this title, or you can reserve, and this is quite unique to EBSCO, a number of copies just for online use. So imagine this was a 3-user title. You could reserve 2 copies for online use and only allow 1 copy to be checked out. Or if you had multiple copies of this book, say you had 9 copies of this book, maybe you want to allow 6 copies to be viewed online and only allow 3 to be checked out. So you can manipulate that at this point. And then if you do have a custom title level setting, you can remove it right here and just hit save. And any custom title level settings would live in this facet. There's 3 ebooks on my test site that have custom level download settings. So moving along to these facets is what we call these. I've already looked at access models. These are title counts of what you have available. Short-term loan will have to do with DDA ebooks. Purchase type. So this is my test site. We really haven't built this up too much. However, in this example, there's 11 ebooks that this test site owns. Shared would be you have access to ebooks that someone else has owns and is giving you access to, and subscriptions would be any ebook subscriptions that you have availability to, and these will always be unlimited, which would also be reflected here. So you could see in this example, all my unlimited titles, the count matches my subscription. And then if you have DDA, we capture those on your title that haven't been triggered, which would be unowned, and how many were purchased through the DDA, and if you do have any short-term loans out. And then total access would be, you know, what's been accessed in these time periods, which is a nice way to see if you clicked on, if there were a number here and you clicked on it, you have to hit apply and it'll show all the books that were accessed in the last 2 weeks. After you've set any settings, clear all so that, you know, your numbers are true again. So I'm going to clear all because I just noticed I had the 1 user access enabled. So my numbers were a little skewed. You can see how many subscription titles I have. And then turnaways will show you any turnaways you have. There's also a limiter over here. I kind of skipped over this, but there's some great sort features over here that you should look at. There's total access. Descending always means most. Total turnaways, the highest turnaways, if you clicked here. Again, I don't have turnaways on my test site, but it would show those titles that were turned away the most. If you have any CAM uses, you can see how many are remaining and so forth. So there's just a lot of great information under the sort. And then when you do search for an ebook, it'll search by the most relevant. And then just moving down a little bit, the date your ebooks were added. So in the last 2 weeks on my test site, there were over 16,000 ebooks added. I believe those were added to subscriptions. Publication date range is nice. If you just disregard this current year, if you added all your front list titles and your backlist titles, that would be the total of your holdings. And then this has just been added to eBook Manager. You can now weed titles yourself. Titles are weeded or suppressed, meaning they're not visible to be discovered, but you still own them. We can flip them back on. We never delete anything that you have access to. So at the title level, you would go in, you would click visibility, and this kind of explains everything. And if you wanted to suppress it, you could do so right here. And any suppressed titles would live down here in this facet, and there's 3 from my test site that are suppressed. And then this is the remaining of your holdings. And then any books that you do own, we do show you which ones could be upgraded to DRM free available. And then finally, we added this new feature as well in the last couple of months. This is an export. So anytime you do a search for anything, you can export your findings. So you could select titles using these facets or these sort features, and you could select those books and then have those exported to an Excel file. You could select your entire collection and hit export. And this comes to you under a minute. It's super fast, and it will show you everything you need to know about your ebook, whether it's shared, owned, a subscription. It'll have all the information needed, ISBNs, how many publisher permissions on that ebook, and etc. So it's a very nice report to download. And like I said, it's super quick. And that is eBook Manager. And I think you'll find it very useful. And we're coming up on 3:28. So any questions, I'm happy to answer.
We haven't had any questions come in yet. Anybody who does want to ask a question, feel free to throw it into the chat window or the Q&A screen. I'll keep an eye on those. We haven't had any yet.
Okay. If anybody needs ECM accounts, please reach out to your account rep, Derek or Paula, or you can reach out to the EBSCO ebook team, and we'll make sure we set you up with an account. Again, approvers have access to eBook Manager, selectors do not. Selectors have all the rights that approvers have, except they do not have an add to cart button. They can only add to a list and then take that list and send it to an approver, and that approver can edit the list, send it to the cart, and purchase. So if you don't want all your librarians to have purchasing power, we do have a selector permission available. And then one more thing, coming to eBook Manager, we are going to have an easy upgrade feature in eBook Manager. Currently, you can click on any book if you're seeing high turnaways, and it'll bring you into the main part of ECM, at which point you can purchase an upgraded copy if it's the upgrading pricing's available, or another copy. Coming soon, it's going to be an easier workflow in eBook Manager, and our developers are working on that right now.
Well, thank you so much, Robin. I haven't seen any questions come in, so I'll sort of echo what Robin said. If you do have questions, please feel free to reach out to Paula or Daniel, or even to me, and we'll make sure that the question gets to the right person over at EBSCO.
Terrific.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us. That's really cool information. It's always neat to see like how the tools are evolving and the additional capabilities that our members get through ECM and the eBook Manager modules. Thank you so much, Robin.
Terrific. Have a great day.
Okay, you too. Thanks all for joining, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.